All right, football world, what's up? I am Jerry Azumah along here with Sam Brief. Thank you for joining us to the Points. You will hear us break down NFL matchups, primetime, and some bets that we like. All right, Sam, what do you think?
Well, Zoom, we got to start with some week one stuff because this NFL week one had me, and I'm sure you, and I'm sure all you listeners out there, absolutely losing it. So let's start right here in Chicago, where both of us are. You were at Soldier Field for the disaster by the lake.
Oh, my goodness.
Give me a thought. What were the vibes like there, Zoom?
The vibes were actually really good. I mean, the start of the game was really nice. The weather was beautiful. It was a packed crowd, a lot of Packer fans all over the place, obviously. Beautiful flyby, which was amazing. I mean, it was just queued up to be an extremely great day, except the Chicago Bears didn't show up. And that really put a damper on the whole day. I mean, they just couldn't get right the whole game. There was no rhythm, no continuity. There was just nothing. It just seemed like they were not really prepared to play a football game. So it was very disappointing.
That's kind of what it looked like. And it looked like Jordan Love was on a Hall of Fame path. I have no idea if he's on a Hall of Fame path, but that's kind of what it looked like watching the game. Okay, Soldier Field, I'm ready to put week one behind me. But how about what happened at the Meadowlands on Monday night? We had so much talk, so much hype about the Aaron Rodgers era in New York, and 4 plays in, it's over. What's your thought?
Yeah, I mean, Hard Knocks. I mean, they really put an emphasis on the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, and it's a very unfortunate situation that happened. Only 4 plays into the game, Aaron Rodgers goes down with an Achilles. Now, the team had to scramble, and, Zach Wilson had to step up, and he did. And it seemed like the team really were punched in the face and taken back by that. But at the same time, they said, you know what? This adversity that we're faced with, we have to go out there and make some plays and make it happen. And they did against a really good football team to get that win.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Jets are 1-0, but it sort of feels like they're 0-100 after losing Aaron Rodgers. But I do give them credit. Okay, Zoom, one more before we turn the page to this week's matchups. It's kind of interesting, kind of weird that Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen, who are all these wonder kids dominating the AFC, are a combined 0 for 3. How panicked should I be for them?
Well, don't panic. Don't panic. I mean, the Super Bowl champion, with Mahomes, he did lose a game at home, and it was devastating, but the Lions are a really good team. So we have to give them a lot of credit, too. And plus, he didn't have all his weapons with Kelsey. You know what I'm saying? So there was some things that needed to get done. I think they'll get that thing corrected. Now, with Burrow, I don't know what happened over there, but I tell you what, the Browns have his number. They always have his number. I think he's only beat them one time, but he's always succumbed to the Browns. And I'm just not really thrilled with what happened with that, but that's just what it is. And Josh Allen, I mean, he went against a really good team. He played well, but those interceptions just really put the whole team down and out, essentially. So there's some things that they have to overcome. They have to figure out basically how to get their first game, how to win their first game, and then they can continue on. But I have a lot of trust and faith in these guys that they'll do it.
Josh Allen has never won an overtime game as the Bills quarterback, and Joe Burrow had almost 200 yards fewer than the millions on his $275 million contract. Absolutely wild. Wow. Okay.
Good.
Zoom, week one was wild, but let's get on to week two. I know you've got a lot ready for us. Let's start with Thursday Night Football, a really interesting matchup between a Bears rival in the NFC North, the Minnesota Vikings, heading to Philly to take on the defending NFC champion Eagles. Let's hear your thoughts on Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday Night Football and the Vikings, they visit the Eagles, as you know, and currently the Eagles are a 7-point favorite. So this game is very intriguing to me because the Vikings, they're coming off that very disappointing loss. But if you look at the stats and you look at Kirk Cousins, he threw for over 340 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. But Justin Jefferson, he did not catch a touchdown pass, but he was catching the ball left and right. He got 9 catches for 150 yards. And the Vikings, they had 3 turnovers early in the first half. And I think ultimately that was the difference. You have to protect the ball. If you don't protect the ball and if you're reckless with the ball, then it's going to come back and it's going to bite you. And it did for this team. Now, the Eagles, They're a Super Bowl caliber team, as we know. Like they know how to do it. And they went into Foxborough. They put it on the Patriots early and often. Even though the Patriots started to come back a little bit, they capitalized on those opportunities. And that was really nice to see. But the Patriots, I mean, they pressed at the end, but the Eagles really held them off. And that's what you really want to see from a good caliber football team, which the Eagles are. Now, the Eagles in the trenches, that's where they make their money. They are the best in the business, I would say, on both sides. Their offensive line is really good. Their defensive line with Jalen Carter, oh my goodness, he looked like an absolute stud. That's where they get all that money from. And they are very dominant up front. But the Vikings, they stayed competitive throughout the football game, and they came out and they came fast and they got the job done. So I think that Justin Jefferson with the Vikings, I think that he has to step up. He's going to get a lot of attention, obviously, just like we saw last week. But the wideouts, Addison and Hawkinson, the tight end, I think that they're going to get more touches than usual. And I also think that the Eagles will attack the Vikings through the air. So they're going to launch that ball like crazy. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, they should get a lot of man coverage. So the Eagles line, they have to protect Jalen Hurts and give him enough time to make that connection. But I think that overall it will be good. And Sam, I got to tell you, it's going to go down. I expect a lot of explosive plays.
This feels like an offensive juggernaut type of game, which for Thursday night, like I'm so used to a 16-10 game, I kind of want some more points. And speaking of points, Zoom, why don't you take me to the points here?
Yeah, to the points. Now, the Eagles, they're ranked second in the NFL in my book. And the Vikings, they have to play a perfect game to really beat them. But I just don't see that happening. I'm taking the Eagles to cover the spread, and I'm taking the under 49.5 points. And also put some change on Hurts over 248 passing yards and A.J. Brown over 75.5 receiving yards.
Well, given that the Vikings gave up the second most passing yards per game, that Jalen Hurts over feels like a lock. So let's hope that we don't swing and miss there.
I know.
Zoom, Thursday night, it seems like it's going to be a nice matchup, maybe for Bears fans to watch if you get to see a Philly team beat up on the Vikings. And speaking of the Bears, we need some redemption. Disaster.
We do.
Against the Packers. So now you get to go down to Tampa and you get to face Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. But here's the thing. The Bucs are 1-0. They looked good in Minnesota. So give me your thoughts on Bears and Bucs.
Well, Tampa Bay overall, they have Baker Mayfield, and really just the whole team just really rose up to the occasion, and it really surprised me. The Bucs defense, they look like a legit defense. They're all over the place making plays, and they come to pressure, and they are really aggressive at the point of attack, which I really like. And Baker, he was just able to make plays all over the place. He was mobile, and he made a lot of plays with his arm. And Evans and Godwin, the two all-world wide receivers, they came to play. He was able to hit them in stride and he made a lot of explosive plays for that team. So I see the same game plan in effect for the Chicago Bears, because the Chicago Bears have shown us absolutely nothing. They've shown that they cannot stop anyone or anything, and they have to really dig deep to figure out exactly what the problem is and go out there and start executing, because Baker is going to pick these guys apart, and that's not going to be a good thing. So if the Bears don't get a lot of pressure on Baker, especially, it's going to be a long day, because I really think that Baker's going to come out and he's going to air that ball all over the place. And also, the linebackers last week had a lot of trouble stopping the running back coming out of the backfield on quick little passes. So I think Baker's going to try to exploit that. And I see that happening. And I think that they might have a lot of success, because they had success last week with doing that. And Tampa, they've been watching the film, so they know that they can beat the Chicago Bears. So they're going to come in with a lot of confidence. And let's face it, man, they beat a good team with the Vikings. You know what I'm saying? The Vikings are a good team. But I expect the Bears to bounce back from this embarrassing home loss. It did not go right the last week for the Chicago Bears. So hopefully they can find a rhythm. They can incorporate DJ more into the system, hopefully. And, just play discipline and play mental-free football. So we'll see. Hopefully this game could be competitive. But, Sam, I don't know, man. Based off of what I saw last week, I'm just not feeling extremely confident about this team.
I'm hearing nothing about DJ Moore all offseason, and suddenly he gets 2 targets against the Packers. felt like the world was on fire. So let's get to the points. What should I expect from the Bears and the Bucs?
Well, if the Bears don't put forth a great effort, then they can be facing 0-2 heading into Kansas City for week 3. And that's not a good thing. So they have to dig deep and try to get this win. But ultimately, I just don't see that happen. And I think that the Bucs will cover the spread here for sure.
Quickie question from me over here, because I've still got DJ Moore on my mind. I see his over-under is 45.5 yards in week 2. Would I hammer the over or the under?
I think I would go with the over on that, because I think the coaching staff knows that, wait a minute, 2 targets is just not enough. But you also don't want Fields to force it to him as well. So I think there are going to be a lot of short rhythm passes to DJ Moore. And I think that he's going to get a lot of yak, because that's what he's known for. And I would definitely take the over for that one. So the guy that I'm going to bring on next, he grew up in Chicago, played ball at St. Rita High School, then on to the University of Wisconsin, and then on to the Chicago Bears from 2000 to 2004 as an incredible wide receiver. His name is Ahmad Merritt. Give us your money minute.
All right, here we go. Week 2 in the NFL. Let's talk Chicago Bears versus Tampa Bay Bucs in Tampa. What a great opportunity for Chicago to get back to the drawing board and make the necessary adjustments and corrections they need to improve from week 1 to week 2. I think the Bears' game plan needs to be to keep Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans off the field. Baker's obviously got something to prove, and Mike Evans is just a dog. So we need to keep him off the field. If they can do that through the run game with Rashad and Herbert, and then taking their shots down the field with Mooney and Moore, I think the Bears have an opportunity to have some long, sustainable drives, shorten the game, and get points on those drives, even if they're field goals. So I think it's going to be a low-scoring game if the Bears can do that. I'm going to predict the Bears to win this one in a low-scoring game. Let's say 17-10. Bear down.
We're going to have another episode of To The Points coming right up with some Sunday night, some Monday night, and, of course, some Bears talk. So, Zoom, take us home.
All right, football world. This has been To The Points. Make sure to like and subscribe and follow Jerry Azumah and Sam Brief on all social media platforms. Until next time, guys.